Let's dive right into this explainer and look at a seriously fascinating ancient text. We're talking about Deuteronomy chapter 6, and it tackles a really profound universal human challenge, How exactly does a society hold on to its core identity when it transitions from extreme brutal hardship to total comfortable prosperity?
Well, the text doesn't mess around with any gentle introductions. It smashes right into its foundational absolute rule, demanding undivided loyalty to a single God. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Right out of the gate, there is absolutely zero room for ambiguity here.
And this sets up a demand for complete 360-degree commitment. It essentially carves human devotion up into three all-encompassing parts: your heart, your soul, and your might. So it's not just asking for a little bit of your time on the weekends, it is literally asking for everything a person has.
That brings us to part 1, the peril of prosperity and the threat of amnesia. Because right after laying down that ultimate rule, the text urgently shifts its tone to warn about a massive psychological threat looming on the horizon. The author draws this incredibly stark contrast. On one hand, you've got their past suffering, right? The house of bondage in Egypt. But on the other hand, they're looking at a promised future filled with goodly cities, fully furnished houses, and deep wells. And the kicker? These are cities they didn't even have to build and wells they didn't have to dig. Talk about an instant upgrade. But here is where the author points out a deeply flawed aspect of human nature. Sudden, unearned prosperity breeds a dangerous kind of amnesia. It warns, beware lest thou forget. It's kind of like a societal food coma. The warning is that physical comfort and full bellies will inevitably cause them to completely forget the very power that rescued them in the first place. So how do they fight that? Well, that brings us to part 2, passing on the legacy, a blueprint for survival. To prevent this widespread societal memory loss, the text doesn't just cross its fingers and hope for the best. Instead, it lays out a really intense, incredibly specific action plan. We're talking relentless, physical reminders embedded into the fabric of everyday life. The instruction is to teach these laws diligently to your kids. Talk about them constantly, when you're sitting in your house, when you're walking down the road, from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep. It even says to literally bind them to your hands and wear them on your forehead and write them right there on the posts and gates of your homes. It is total immersion. And what's brilliant is that the text fully anticipates how this is going to play out. It knows these highly visible, intense daily rituals are going to spark some major curiosity. It predicts the exact moment in the future when a child is going to inevitably look up at their parents and ask, "Hey, what do all these testimonies, statutes, and judgments actually mean? Why are we doing all of this?" And the built-in answer? It is not just some boring list of rules to memorize. It's a strict 3-step narrative of deliverance. Parents are commanded to actively recall being Pharaoh's bondmen in Egypt, to recount the great signs and wonders they saw, and then to explain exactly how they were brought into this promised land. So storytelling itself literally becomes the survival mechanism. All of this leaves us with a really compelling question when we look at our own modern lives. In an era of totally unprecedented comfort and convenience, what deliberate steps are we actually taking? How are we ensuring that our own core values and histories aren't just completely forgotten by the next generation? It's definitely something to think about.